authentic cuisine. Some say these are just examples of experiment and innovation, but for others, they're nothing short of food racism. The BBC's Katie Silver reports.
So we're here on the streets of central London, asking how much a food's recipe and presentation should be in keeping with tradition. Or is that us just being too fussy? Let's find out. So the first, most recent controversy concerns the much-loved British chef Mary Berry.
Every good bolognese begins with the very important trinity of onion.
Earlier this week, she presented her recipe for spaghetti bolognese, or ragu di bolognese, and it had some controversial ingredients, including thyme, cream, and, wait for it,
the wine, white or red, whatever you've got to hand, though I really prefer to add white.
You heard right, Chardonnay in your bolognese. The recipe was slammed by many Italians, including top world chef Massimo Bottura, who says it would make his mother scream. So what do other people think?
I guess if you try a lot of stuff, different stuff, you can make a tradition, like a new tradition.
That's fair, because it's their dish. Yeah, so it's fair.
It hurts. No, really, it makes me very upset because Italians create things because it works. If it works, why change it? And if you want to add something else in there, there has to be a purpose. Why? So with our signature Sicilian pistachio and lemon cake, why add lemon? Because it brings out the flavour of the pistachio.
Another controversy ignited over the Vietnamese soup pho when an American chef, Tyler Aiken, explained how to eat it and dubbed it the new ramen. But one soup's from Japan, while the other's from Vietnam.
Pho is very different with the ramen because pho is like the beef. Firstly, we make with the beef one, the chicken one. They have a lot of kind of meat, and I think pho is like quite traditional and represent Vietnam.
The pho ramen confusion isn't the only debate when it comes to Asian food. For example, is it okay to post Instagram pictures of Filipino ribs with chopsticks, even though Filipinos wouldn't typically use them? Or a college at Cambridge, which served a Tunisian rice recipe on their menu, which, well, doesn't exist in Tunisia. Either way, how culture and food come together is certainly food for thought. Katie Silver, BBC News.
Well, with me here in the studio is Sam Leith, a Spectator journalist, and from our studio in Glasgow, Celeste Nosh, who's a food blogger and photographer. Celeste, thanks for joining us. Can I just start with you? Aren't you taking this whole question too seriously? Because cooking has always been about experimentation. Isn't it a good thing that people are trying international foods?
I think it's a great thing that people are experimenting and that they are learning about other cultures, but I think the issue here is that people want accurate representation of what their culture is. And so for the example at Cambridge, the students who are asking for representation and criticizing Cambridge's quote-unquote Jamaican beef and mango stew, their issue is that there actually are no dishes in Jamaica that have those two things. And so we're not discouraging anyone from experimenting, because that is, of course, how you get great new things, but we're just asking for whoever is presenting and sharing that food to be mindful of respecting the culture it's coming from.
Sam Leith, that's a fair point, isn't it?
I slightly disagree. I mean, of course, you look crass if you call something Jamaican when it's not authentically Jamaican. But I think the idea that food can be in some way sort of authentic, and that there's a sort of national cuisine that you can draw a line around and police, is in its way, a way slightly insidious, because the history of food, and the reason we have so many delicious forms of food available, is because people have never respected food authenticity. I mean, one of the sort of rows, actually, that kicked this off was in Oberlin College in America, where there was a huge fuss about the fact that they were making banh mi, Vietnamese sandwiches, with ciabatta, which, of course, you wouldn't find there. But the banh mi is itself a sandwich that's a combination of French baguette and pâté and, home-cooked Vietnamese ingredients. I mean, it is in itself a kind of collision. It's a mishmash itself, and I think that mishmash is at the heart of why food is so delicious.